to remain silent to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I am going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you in this case. I'm going to hear first from the Prosecutor's Office regarding their bond recommendation. Mr. Terrace?
Judge, the state is recommending a $1 million bond due to the nature of the charged offense, as well as the defendant's pending case and some of the information listed in the interim complaint about recent violent activity.
Defense Counsel?
Your Honor, at 16 years old, he's very young. He has no criminal history. He's a lifelong resident of Tucson. His mom reports that he's a very well-behaved kid. He always goes to school, always does what he is told. He worked full-time this summer. His mom can also take third-party custody, provide housing and transportation to court. From what I can see in the interim complaint, it's not alleged at this point that he's the one who shot the victim. It is alleged that he was present and had a gun. So I would find that important in making this determination at this point. He also has a $20,000 bond in the other matter already. And so for all these reasons, the lack of criminal history, the young age, I'd ask that the court set the bond at $500,000.
Well, your bond is set at $1 million. You are not allowed to have any contact with the family of the victim. Public Defender's Office, again, is appointed, possess no firearms. Your preliminary hearing is set for October 24th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. And you're also not allowed to possess any firearms. You are excused and your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you.
Ready? Yep. And I'll grab that. Okay.
Is number one next?
Yes, twice.
Twice.
Thank you.
Okay, have a seat in the red chair.
What is your full name, sir?
Sir William Schweiss.
You have a new charge of domestic violence interfering with a court order or failure to comply with a court order. I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty. Looks like you've already got some pending cases in city court on several cases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases already pending. I'm going to set your bond in this new charge at $2,000. You're not allowed to have any contact with Veronica. You cannot call her, see her, text her, social media her. If you were to get out of custody, you cannot go to where she lives. Commit no further acts of domestic violence. Jeff Grinchwich is your appointed counsel. And you'll see Judge Millian in City Court October 16th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. You are excused. Thank you.
You.
Hold on, have a seat. Can you go put in back T1 and then you're gonna keep.
What is your name at the Pima County Jail, please?
Name and what?
What is your middle name, please?
Andrew?
You are charged with 3 separate counts of use of an electronic communication device in a drug-related transaction. I am going to enter pleas of not guilty. I do need to let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearings. I see you also have another, you have another pending felony case. Prosecutor's office, what is your bond recommendation?
Your Honor, we're recommending a $10,000 bond due to the nature of these charges, as well as the fact that he has a bond in his other matter.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, he's lived in Tucson for 4.5 years and has ties to the community. He does have a $1 million bond already holding him here. I'd ask that the court set the bond at $5,000.
Devoid, your bond is set at $10,000. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing date is set for October 24th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you. What is your full name, please?
Barra Valdez, Angélica.
What's your first name?
Angélica,
What's your middle name?
Adriana.
You are charged with 1 count of organized retail theft. It's class 4 felony. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty, let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent and to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Terrace?
Judge, the state's recommending a $7,500 bond. She scores 6 out of 6 on both pretrial services scales and also has another pending felony matter.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, she lived in Tucson for 20 years and has ties to the community. She's also currently employed. I'd ask that the court set the bond in this matter at $3,000.
Para Valdez, your bond set at $5,000. No contact with the alleged victim. Don't go back to the incident location. The Legal Defender's Office is your appointed counsel. Your preliminary hearing is set October 24, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. You are excused. Thank you.
Oh. I'll talk to you.
That's the first batch, okay? Straight down.
Ma'am, ma'am, I'll have a seat on the right chair. You guys all the way down here in the same order? Can I talk to you?
What is your full name, please?
Ashton Brown.
Ms. Brown, you had a couple of cases. One case is out of Sahuarita Municipal Court. It was a warrant for your arrest for a shoplifting case. The alleged incident date was from July 2nd of 2022. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty, quashed a warrant. Are you living in a home or are you living on the streets?
Yes, I'm with my dad.
All right. I'm going to allow you to be released on this case. You got to appear in Sahuarita Municipal Court on November 5th at 8:30 a.m. If you don't appear, another warrant's going to issue for your arrest. You also got picked up for a new charge of drug paraphernalia possession from today's date. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty, release you, set your next court date in Justice Court to November 13th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. You also had a warrant for your arrest on a petition to revoke your probation. You had pled guilty to a criminal trespass and drug paraphernalia case back on June 10th of 2024. You were supposed to be in compliance with your supervised probation, and a petition to revoke your probation was filed on June 21st of 2024. It states that you violated probation in two ways. One, you failed to complete your intake appointment with Corrective Solutions, the monitored probation program, and you also failed to complete your alcohol evaluation and treatment. I'm going to enter a denial of the allegations. Ms. Brown, these cases will never go away until you appear in court to resolve the matters. I'm going to give you
Okay.
a chance to appear on your own in city court November 4th at 2 o'clock. If you don't appear, a warrant's going to issue for your arrest again. Do you understand?
Yes.
You are excused. Thank you.
Ma'am, have a seat on that bench. Ma'am, you have to sit up. You can't lay down your bed. Sit up, please. And who are
Take a seat.
yes.
Sir,
Cisco, primeros con tú.
you are charged with one count of domestic violence assault. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. I will release you, sir. Do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. You will need to appear in justice court on November 13th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. Make sure you appear. If you do not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You are
Okay.
excused. Thank you.
Thank you. Guard, Connor. Sir, go ahead.
What is your full name, please?
Connor Guard,
Mr. Guard, looks like you had a warrant for your arrest at a justice court for a drug paraphernalia charge. Looks like this case has been pending since July 27th of 2024. I'm going to quash the warrant, release you. Your next court date in justice courts November 13th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. Make sure you appear. If you do not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You also had another drug paraphernalia possession charge. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty, release you. Your next court date again is November 13th at 8:30 a.m. Make sure you appear in court. If you don't, warrant will issue for your arrest again. You also had cases in city court and warrant status. Let me see. One case was possession of drug paraphernalia from September 17th of 2024. You had a case from a theft from June 11th of 2024. And then you had a domestic violence assault from 2022. You were supposed to be doing diversion on that particular case. And diversion didn't quite work out for you. Hold on a second. So the case that you were on diversion for, I'm actually going to, so the other two cases that the theft and drug paraphernalia, I'm going to quash the warrant, release you on those matters. Set your next court date on November 18th at 10 a.m. Make sure you appear in city court. If you don't, more warrants will issue for your arrest. And then for that domestic violence case where you took a diversion plea offer, I'm actually just gonna do the sentencing at this time so that case can be resolved. Looks like you pled guilty to a domestic violence assault on August 22nd, 2022. The alleged incident date was from May 11th of 2022. It was a class 3 misdemeanor. I'm going to enter the guilty plea into the record because you had pled guilty to that when you took your diversion plea offer, and impose a sentence of 12 months on unsupervised probation. It just basically means don't violate any new laws beginning today's date. You'll have to complete 26 sessions of domestic violence counseling, and I'll give you until 26 sessions of domestic violence counseling. You got to get that done by June 15th of 2025. If you do not get that done by that date, then you will pay a fine of up to pay a fine of $500. So right now that $500 fine is suspended as long as you do the counseling. If you don't do the counseling, then that's what you'll pay. There is a $100 domestic violence fee imposed in your case. And I'll set you up on a payment plan. And it's going to be $25 monthly. Your first payment's due November 15th, 2024. Just make sure you pay by the 15th of each month. If you don't, you'll go into collections. I will dismiss the the failure to appear that was added to your case. Mr. Guard, what is your date of birth, please?
September 19th, 2003.
You'll get a copy of the sentencing minute entry and I'll release you on this case. Thank you. You're excused.
The action. The seat on the ridge there, please.
What is your full name, please?
Ashton Lee, Ashton David Lee.
You're charged, you had a warrant for your arrest for shoplifting at a Marana City Court. Actually, I don't know, was it a warrant? A new charge, sorry, new charge of shoplifting. I'm gonna enter plea of not guilty. I'll release you. Do not go back to the store location. Your next court date is gonna be in Marana City Court, November 13th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Make sure you appear. If you don't, a warrant will issue for your arrest. And don't pick up any new charges. You are excused. Thank you.
He's paying. Well, you can go back out there. About that. Yeah, I just came out. But you're not leaving. I'll come with you on the original.
What is your full name, please?
Lavelda Ashley Choiwa?
Your middle name is Ashley, you said?
Yes.
All right, looks like you had a warrant for your arrest. It was for charges involving 2 counts of domestic violence assault, 1 count of domestic violence disorderly conduct. It involved Justin Toro. The alleged incident date was from May 21st of 2021. Looks like you got arrested back on July 31st. You were supposed to show up for court. You did not, so another warrant issued for your arrest. So as you can see, this case will never go away until you appear in court to resolve your case. I'm going to give you a chance to appear. I'm going to release you. Your next court date is going to be October 23rd, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Make sure you appear in court. If you don't, another warrant's going to issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Prescott. Scott.
What is your full name, please?
Colo Matthew Prescott.
All right, looks like you have new charges of domestic violence, disorderly conduct, domestic violence assault. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. You already have cases pending in city court. Looks like a petition to, let's see what's going on. A petition to revoke was also filed on 2 cases in city court. It states in a petition that you pled guilty to a domestic violence disorderly conduct in 1 case, a domestic violence assault in the other case. You were placed on probation May 3rd of 2023 for 18 months. It states in a petition you violated probation in 4 ways. Number 1, at May 26th of 2023, you failed to report to probation. May 11th, 2023, you failed to receive prior approval from probation regarding your residence location and your current whereabouts were unknown. Number 3 states on May 5th, 2023, you failed to attend your domestic violence counseling orientation. And on May 19th, 2023, you failed to actively participate and cooperate in any counseling or assistance as determined by probation. I am going to enter a denial of those allegations. And I already entered a plea of not guilty to the new charge. Your bond is set at $2,500 cash, and do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. Let's see. And no contact with the minor in the, the victim in this case, the new case. All right, I'll appoint the city public defender's office to represent you. Your next hearing date in city courts, October 30th at 1:30 p.m. You are excused. Thank you.
Saunders, nobody else.
What is your full name, please?
Nobody else. Samara Saunders.
All right, looks like you have new charges of 2 counts of domestic violence assault, 2 counts of domestic violence disorderly conduct, being underage and having alcohol on in your body. You also have 2 other cases pending. Oh no, you have another case you're supposed to be doing diversion on. All right, so let me see what's happening in the new case. Hold on a second. You do have a constitutional right to remain silent and to be represented by an attorney if you're facing jail time in your case. I don't know if you're facing jail time at this point. Looks like this case involved your aunt. And your diversion case involved your aunt. You're employed full-time?
Yes.
How long have you been employed for?
For about 7. Oh no, like 9 months now.
All right, so I am going to allow you to be released, but you are not allowed to have any contact with Siobhan. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do not go to where she lives. Do not call her. Do not text her. No communication with her while this case is pending. Do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. And how old are you?
20.
You are not allowed to drink any alcohol. You're underage. The legal drinking age is 21. So you cannot drink any alcohol. Your next court date is November 14, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Make sure you appear in court. If you do not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. I need to let you know also for the charges, these new charges, you are entitled to have a trial before a judge. It's called a bench trial. If you don't appear in court, a warrant will issue for your arrest, and new charges of failure to appear could be added to your case. You also are entitled to attend all proceedings. If you don't attend, a warrant could issue for your arrest, as I stated. All right, you are excused. Thank you.
Thank you. Amar. Honestly. Sorry, you have a really long name.
What is your name, please?
Amar Shabazz Muhammad.
What is your middle name, please?
Shabazz.
It's not Cha-Cha?
Well, yeah, that's a hyphenated. It's my hyphenated name.
A hyphenated middle name?
Yes.
And is there other middle name Ibn?
Yes.
So it's Amar Cha-Cha Ibn Shabazz Muhammad.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so it looks like you have a new charge today for criminal trespass in a third degree. I'm gonna enter plea of not guilty. Another charge of criminal trespass in a third degree from today's date. You have a criminal trespass pending from September 23rd of 2024. And a warrant was issued for your arrest on October 8th, 2024 for a case involving criminal damage, disorderly conduct from August 22nd of 2023. And you had another case in warrant status for threats and intimidation from May 14th of 2023. I am going to enter pleas of not guilty to all the charges, set your bond at $1,000, appoint the city public defender's office to represent you. Your next court date is going to be in city court, October 22nd at 1:45 p.m. And you are not allowed to go to 2331 East Adams. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you.
All right, Alice, Richard. Sir, you can go back out there and see.
What is your name, please?
Richard Valles,
What's your middle name, please?
Andrew.
All right, Mr. Valles, looks like a petition to revoke your probation was filed on or about October 8th of 2024. It states in a petition you were placed on probation for 2 separate domestic violence charges. You were placed on probation on July 12th of 2023 for 24 months. In the petition, it states that you violated probation in 5 ways. On August 1st and September 5th of 2024, you failed to report to probation. The second allegation is that on October 3rd, you changed your residence without prior approval from probation and your whereabouts were unknown. Number 3, during the months of August and September of 2024, you failed to submit to drug testing. Number 4, that on May 30th, 2024 and August 27th, 2024, you consumed alcohol. And on August 8th, 2024, October 3rd, 2024, you failed to attend your review hearings in Tucson City Court. I'm going to enter a denial of those allegations. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. And your bond is set at $2,500 cash. Your next hearing date in city court is October 30th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m.
Your Honor, can I please say something? Your Honor, I am a full-time father. I have a 5 and 4-year-old. The only thing that I have violated is the contact between me and the probation officer. They were stating that they didn't have any contact with me, but I have the proof. I'm on 35 classes. My over at Perceptions, my counselor knows everything about all my whereabouts. I was approved by one probation officer about moving residents to be where my kids are once they started school. So they've had all this information, Your Honor. And I've gone through 3 different probation officers. They just never communicated everything with them. I have the proof of missing the court date. The day of the court, I sent it to the probation officer. She had posted on a card that said 10/3/24 at 2:30 p.m. at the Ajo. She checked off the Ajo. I even sent her a picture and she goes, "No, you're supposed to be at court." I was like, "Well, I'm here at your office with the card." And I sent her a text message of the card and she goes, "Oh, that's your court date." I was like, yeah, but it says for me to be here at 2:30 at the probation office. I said, I'm over here. I
Oh,
said, I've been here for 2 hours. I have nothing but text messages back and forth. And then she stated that she didn't have my new phone number. But on the text messages I saved, because I talked to my counselor, I said, look, I text you the day that I got my phone. I said, I have the proof right here. So I have not violated nothing. I'm a full-time worker. I'm a full-time father, and my kids need me to be out there. If I don't show up to work, because I work for the casino, I've been working for them for 18 years. If I don't show up to work on Wednesday, I lose this job, and I have not violated anything. When I had dropped positive, it was when the third probation officer had put me back on drops. I was off of drops for months and months and months from the first PO. So every time that I got a new PO, and she even knows why I dropped positive, I got a promotion at work where I was working, or I had my promotion. I had to do training, so I was out of the perceptions for 1 month, which
okay,
was
sir.
approved.
I can't change my mind. The judge wants you held on a $2,500 cash bond. I put a message to your attorney to see you ASAP. If you don't report to work on, you have to report to work on October 16th. So hopefully someone will see you soon. There's a lot of allegations in this petition, sir. All right, you're excused. Thank you. What is your full name, please?
Omar Arzak Duarte.
You are charged with second-degree murder, 5 counts of aggravated assault, and 1 count of endangerment. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I need to let you know, sir, that you have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you. I'm also going to be appointing the public in this case. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Terrace?
Judge, the state is recommending $1 million bond. There are very concerning details in the interim complaint. Obviously, the loss of life for the victim, but the fact that there could have been potentially 4 more lives lost given the defendant's reckless driving and given his intoxication. The interim complaint notes several prior DUI arrests. The state did note the recent DUI conviction that was a misdemeanor. So given the history of driving under the influence, the danger to the community and the victims as well, the state is asking for $1 million bond.
Defense counsel?
And he's a 2 on the FTA and the NCA scale. He has 1 prior felony, but it's from 2008 and appears to have been a personal use drug matter. He's lived in Tucson for 32 years and has ties to the community. He's currently employed full-time, and he is the financial support for his wife and his 3 children. Pretrial Services was able to verify with his spouse that he has housing and transportation there with her. For all these reasons, I'd ask the court set the bond at $250,000.
Mr. Duarte, because of the multiple victims involved and the fact that there is a death involved in this incident, your bond is set at $1 million. You're not allowed to have any contact with the victims of the aggravated assault and the family of the victim of the homicide case. Public Defender's Office is appointed. Your preliminary hearing is set October 24, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. You are excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if we can please waive reading.
Yes. What is your full name, please?
Royce Joseph Fight.
No waive reading of the complaint, enter pleas of not guilty. Mr. Fife, I need to let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent and to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm also going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you in this case. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Terrace?
Judge, the state is recommending $100,000 bond. I do understand that it doesn't appear to be any criminal history in the low pretrial services stores. However, given the nature of the offense, as well as the mandatory prison time that can occur with charges such as these, the state believes that the defendant is a flight risk and is asking for a $100,000 bond.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, he's a lifelong resident of Tucson. He's currently employed full-time. He has no criminal history. Pretrial services was able to verify with his mother that he has housing and transport with her and that no minors live in that residence. I would ask that the court set the bond at $30,000.
Right, your bond set at $50,000 plus release of pretrial services. If you're able to post that bond, you must comply with any monitor treatment as directed by pretrial services. You're not allowed to have any contact with any minors, possess no firearms. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. October 24, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. is your preliminary hearing. You are excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I apologize, Judge. My partner's grabbing him right now.
See up here, street.
What is your full name, please?
Anthony Charles Russell.
Mr. Russell, you are charged with one count of domestic violence disorderly conduct. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. You do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You have a right to have a trial in your case. It would be a trial before a judge, which is a bench trial. You do have a right to be present at all future court hearings in your case. And I am going to allow you to be released, but you do have that probation hold on you. Well, actually, no. Do you have a probation hold? Hold on a second.
No.
Yeah, it says APO. I don't know why that would be the case, because I thought you were released from prison. Jail, does he have a probation hold on him?
He does, Your Honor.
All right, so you do have a probation hold. I'm going to release you on this case, though, on your misdemeanor matter. You are not allowed to have any contact with Crystal Baker. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
Do not call her, do not write to her, do not text her, stay away from her. If you were to be released, you cannot go to her residence location, sir. Do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. Your next court date is going to be on October 23rd, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. And I will appoint the city public defender to represent you on your case. Thank you. You are excused.
The thing where I called you in the meeting. Oh.
What is your full name, please?
Domenico Acosta.
Charged with one count of aggravated shoplifting and one count of organized retail theft. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. You do have a constitutional right to remain silent and to be represented by the attorney. You do have a attorney who is seated next to represent you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Terrace?
Judge, the state is recommending a $5,000 bond based on his criminal history and his 6 out of 6 scores on both pretrial services scales.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, he's lived in Tucson for 16 years and has ties to the community. These are nonviolent shoplifting related allegations. I'd ask that the court set the bond at $2,000.
Mr. Acosta, your bond is set at $5,000 because of the multiple incidences in this case and your prior criminal history. You are not allowed to go back to the store location. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set October 24th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you.
All right, we'll have a statement of intentions. All right, Atchison, Madison, have a seat on the chair, please.
What is your full name?
Madison Atchison,
What's your
the
middle
third.
name?
Leroy, I'm sorry.
You are charged with one count of unlawful possession of a narcotic drug. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. You do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. The prosecutor's office is okay with your release to the supervision of pretrial services. I am going to release you to their supervision. You must comply with any monitored treatment as directed by pretrial services. While you're on release status, sir, you cannot drink any alcohol, you cannot take any illegal drugs, and you certainly cannot be in possession of any illegal drugs. Public Defender's Office is appointed. Your first hearing is called a SMART hearing. It's set for next week, October 21st, 2024 at 9 a.m. in Superior Court. You must be present. If you're not present, a warrant will issue for your arrest. And defense counsel, you're willing to waive time limits for your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, preliminary hearing is going to be set December 2nd at 1:30 p.m. Mr. Atchison, stay in touch with your attorney and pretrial services. You are excused.
Thank you.
What is your full name, please?
Priscilla Gonzalez,
What's your middle name?
Nicole.
You are charged with aggravated assault on a peace officer. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. You do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Terrace.
Judge, the state is recommending a $5,000 bond based on the criminal history, the 6 out of 6 on the pretrial services scales, and the active NBCA flood.
Defense counsel.
Your Honor, Ms. Gonzalez is seriously mentally ill. She has schizophrenia and receives services through La Frontera. She has a job interview lined up for tomorrow that she's very excited about. I would ask the court to consider release pretrial services or set the bond at $1,000.
Ms. Gonzalez, your bond set at $2,000. Legal Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set October 24th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Thank you. You're excused.
Ruben Lopez. Take your hands out of your pants and your shirt.
What is your full name, please?
Ruben Lopez
What's your middle name, please?
Martin.
You are charged with one count of being a prohibited possessor, possessing a deadly weapon that is defaced, possessing a deadly weapon during a drug offense, unlawful possession of a dangerous drug for sales, and unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. Let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearings. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Terrace.
Judge, the state is recommending a bond of $25,000 based on the nature of the offense, as well as his criminal history. And according to pretrial services, he was recently released from parole within the last few months as well.
Defense counsel.
Your Honor, he's a lifelong resident of Tucson with ties to the community. At 23 years old, he's relatively young. He's currently employed full-time. I'd ask that the court set the bond at $10,000.
Lopez, your bond is set at $20,000. I see you have a 2 prior armed robberies, theft charge. Your bond is set at $20,000. Possession of firearms, public defender's office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set to October 24th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon regarding your felony case. You also picked up a new charge of resisting arrest. It's a misdemeanor matter. I am going to enter plea of not guilty, release you on the matter, and I'll set your next court date in city court, November 13th at 9:30 a.m. And I'll let city court know that you're currently in custody on a felony matter. You are excused. Thank you.
Thank you.
Primer Esteban. Put your hands out of your shirt, please. Take a minute.
What is your name, please?
Esteban Tomas Burnley.
You are charged with one count of misconduct involving a weapon, a prohibited possessor, and then a possession of a deadly firearm that is defaced. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I need to let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. I do want to let you know you do have a probation hold on you. Mr. Terrace?
Judge, the state is recommending a $25,000 bond. He scores as high as possible on the pretrial services scales. As the court noted, he is on probation. And as noted with the co-defendant, the state recommendation is based on the inherent nature of the offense as well.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, he's a lifelong resident of Tucson and has ties to the community. He does already have that probation hold. I'd ask that you set the bond at $15,000.
Mr. Rimmer, your bond is set at $20,000. Possession of firearms or weapons. A legal defender's office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set to October 24th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. You also had misdemeanor charges, a new charge of refusing to provide your true name. You had a warrant for your arrest for drug paraphernalia at a city court. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty, quash the warrant. In both of these cases in city court, your next court date's November 18th, 2024 at 9 a.m. I'll release you on the misdemeanor matters, and I'll let city court know that you're currently in custody on the felony matter. You are excused. Thank you.
Rodriguez, Sarah.
What is your full name, please?
Sarah Beth Rodriguez.
You are charged with a domestic violence aggravated assault, a class 6 felony, a class 4 robbery charge, a class 6 domestic violence kidnapping charge, one count of domestic violence assault, which is a misdemeanor, and domestic violence preventing use of a phone. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty, quash the warrant, let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearings. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Terrace.
Your Honor, the state is recommending the $7,500 amount that is in the warrant.
Defense counsel.
Your Honor, she has no prior felony convictions. She's lived in Tucson for 10 years and has ties to the community. I'd ask that the court set the bond at $2,500.
Ms. Rodriguez, your bond set at $5,000. No contact with the victim. Don't go to where that victim lives. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. You're also not allowed to possess any firearms or weapons, commit no further acts of domestic violence. Your arraignment date is set for October 21st, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. You also had a warrant for your arrest at a city court for 1 count of criminal trespass. That alleged incident date was from September 17th of 2024. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty, release you on the misdemeanor matter. And your next court date in city court is going to be November 13th at 2:00 p.m. And I'll let city court know that you're currently in custody on that felony matter. You are excused. Thank you.
Thank you.
Benson, Colleen.
What is your full name, please?
Kelly James Simpson.
You are charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault on a peace officer and 1 count of resisting arrest. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. I need to let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Terrace.
Your Honor, the state is recommending a $10,000 bond. The defendant has an active NVCA flag, 7 prior convictions, including several that are of a violent nature. So given that criminal history, the state is recommending a $10,000 bond.
Defense counsel.
Your Honor, he's lived in Tucson for a year and has gotten established here. He currently has a stable housing and employment situation. I'd ask that the court set the bond at $3,000.
Bond set at $10,000 because of the extensive criminal history. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent him. Preliminary hearings October 24th at 1:30 p.m. Mr. Simpson, you also had a misdemeanor warrant for your arrest out of Justice Court for a charge of shoplifting from February 12th of 2024. I'm going to quash the warrant, release you. October 30th at 9 a.m. is your next court date in Justice Court, and I'll let them know that you're currently in custody on that felony matter. You are excused.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Everyone's excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're all good.